Hey there, it's Pete with GCI Turf. Hope you're having a great day today. I want to welcome you out here to my shop, Tiff Tough Bermuda. Got kind of three different little things going on. One side we left it dormant. Well, let me start over. The whole thing's Tiff Tough Bermuda. Okay, it can be confusing if you look at it. Well, there's three different color grasses. Well, the whole entire yard out here is Tiff Tough Bermuda. In its natural dormant state, it's going to look like it does over on the far right side where it's completely paper sack brown. The middle is overseeded with ryegrass, which is a temporary color for the fall, winter, and early spring. And then this side over here on the left is another temporary color. It's painted with the Endurance turf paint, and that basically gives me a green color through the fall, winter, early spring. When the Bermuda wakes up in the summer, when it begins to get warm, obviously the paint gets mowed off and you see the natural Bermuda color. And as far as the rye goes, I'm probably a month away from spraying it out and killing the rye so that the Bermuda can take over and fill in and do its thing. So we'll have a full-blown Tiff Tough Bermuda yard out here, and we're going to do about 1,000 square feet worth of putting green, maybe 500 square foot of fringe, and then the rest of it out here will be a normal cutting height, which is about 1 inch for me. The fringe will cut it 1/2 inch, and the golf green will take it down as low as my reel mower will go, which is about 1/16 of an inch, I believe. Yeah, it's a golf green, blah, 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 kind of makeshift. It's nothing PGA spec about it. But for the homeowner, it'll give you an idea of different cutting heights and how to manage them throughout the year. So, I'm going to get some fun from hitting sand wedges from 70, 80 yards away. And then you're going to get to learn about the different cutting heights as far as Bermuda goes. But right now, today, I've got a little problem out here. I got pine needles down. The guys just put fresh pine needles down. And this one little corner, when the cars go down the road here, they drag in the wind with them, and the car goes by, and shortly thereafter a gust of wind comes. But when you get a big 18-wheeler go down the road, it picks this corner up and throws the needles out in the grass. Now, I know you're thinking, Pete, well, why don't you just do something that don't cause that much trouble, like mulch, like a hard double ground hardwood mulch or something that would pack tighter. Well, I don't want mulch. It's literally that simple. I prefer the look of pine needles over the look of mulch in most circumstances. I've always been a pine needle guy. There's nothing horticulturally better one than the other, in my opinion. It's simply the fact of personal preference that I like the look of the pine needles better than I like the look of mulch or mini nuggets or rock. Anything you can imagine that could go in these beds, I prefer the look of pine needles. So that's why I got pine needles down. Since this is a trouble area, I'm going to find a solution to fix that so that the needles don't blow over in my grass and I have to constantly be cleaning them up. I've had several different things play out in my head. One was like that netting that you would put over flowers, like a clear netting to keep deer and rabbit and stuff away, and just kind of put a netting over that and staple it down. That way you wouldn't see the netting. That would absolutely work. But Brad came here the other day to bring me some paint, and we got to looking at this out here, and he said, hey, I got this product that you can spray on it, and it acts like a glue, and it glues the pine needles down. They won't go anywhere. So I'm gonna put that down, see what happens. According to them, you can use it on slopes, hills, banks, use it for nuggets, mulch, pine needles, whatever. Any of your material that you have in your beds and you want to lock it in place, you can use this. The mix ratio is 2 to 1, meaning for every 2 ounces of water, I'm going to have 1 ounce of product. That's a 1.5 gallon sprayer, and on the sprayer, he did recommend you use some kind of old one that you don't want to, use often, because the glue portion of it is really, really strong. He said it takes forever to clean the sprayer out, so I've just got an old cheap one, hand pump up sprayer I use. It's like 1.5 gallons. So if I'm doing a 2-to-1 ratio, it's going to be 1 gallon of water and 1/2 gallon of product, and that equals my 1.5 gallons. So I'm gonna put down some fresh needles right here, and then I'm gonna walk them down just to kind of, so they have that flattened out look like I like. Brad said when you spray the stuff, it goes on white, but it dries clear. And then once we do that, we're gonna let it dry and then come back out here and put a second coat over top of it. And then I'll come back out this afternoon in this same video. We'll look at it and see if it's moved any. Then I'll come back tomorrow morning and tomorrow afternoon to look at it again. And all this will be in the same video. And then we'll see. By then, we'll kind of know if it's actually going to move or not. So let me get to putting the pine needles down, and then we'll spray it, see what it looks like when we get done. All right, so we're going to see. Watch this. Here comes a big old truck down the road. Let's see what happens. Whoa, 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 don't go nowhere. Let's see how this does. And there is a link in the description below if you want to check this out for yourself. Really gonna focus hard on these edges to really try and lock and hold this in place. Well, so far so good. The actual application is pretty easy. I'm just being really liberal with it and really soaking it down real good. Got to stop and pump up every now and then. Wow, already it's not moving. Now I don't know this for a fact. I'm simply taking a wild guess at this. But I would imagine the more that you apply this, the better it's going to hold and the longer it's going to hold. Once it dries, it is rainproof. I do know that much, so the rain can't actually wash it away. All right, so that's coat number 1. We'll let that dry real good, and then we'll come out here and put a second coat on it, see what happens. Well, I'd have to say I'm pretty impressed so far. I'm back out here about an hour after the initial application, and it has not moved one bit. So this is the second application over top of the first. Remember, we let it dry, and now we're going down with a second app, and you can see I'm going down pretty heavy with it. I want to do this one time and be done with it and really lock it down. So far so good. We'll come back out here this afternoon and we'll look at it and see how it's holding up. So it's been a super long day at work today. Holy cow. So I couldn't get back out of here during the day, but I got the truck headlights because I wanted to show you this. But look at that. I mean, it just locks it in tight. Holy cow, I'm liking that. So we'll come back out tomorrow, check it out again, and wrap up the video. So sorry about the delay on finishing up the video. It was another long day. But you can see, man, it's holding up like a champ. This is the night after what you just saw. So I'll try my best to get out here tomorrow and show this in the daytime. It's supposed to rain Friday. I may wait and finish this up Friday afternoon, let it rain on it one good time. That way we'll kind of have all the conditions that it would go through normally before we show the after. So let's finally get out here and finish this up. I think we started the video on a Monday, and today's Friday, and everything in between was chaos. This is crazy. Never seen anything like it. Look at how tight that is to the ground. Now, one thing I wish I would have done a little bit different is I'd have put the pine needles down, let it rain on them, and let it kind of mash the pine needles down, kind of settle them out like I like for them to look, and then sprayed the product on it, because you can see they're still kind of huffy and puffy and fluffy, and I don't like that look. That's personal preference. I mean, you could put your pine needles down and spray them right away if you like that look, but I just, live and learn. But overall, the stuff has really held up good. We had one day that the winds were really, really high, had some real high winds, and then it rained all night last night, and then it rained, no, it wasn't all night last night. It started real early this morning, started raining, and then rained up until 1, 2 o'clock today, and you can see they have not moved a muscle. They are absolutely in the same spot as where they were when I sprayed the material on here. So I like it. I mean, it's even along the edges, it's held it, right in place. So a quick recap on this product. Mix ratio is 2 to 1, meaning 2 parts water, 1 part product. If you got a small area, you might want to start off using a little bit, because I mixed up 1.5 gallons, and I was able to spray that spot 2 times, and I still had some left over. And what I mean by that is you get pretty good use out of a little bit of it. Number 2, make sure you use the old sprayer. Don't use your best flow zone you got, or don't use your go-to sprayer that you spray everything else in the yard. Invest in a little cheap hand pump sprayer you get from Lowe's or something like that, because I've been told that once you get that glue inside the pump and the diaphragm and all that, it's extremely difficult to get out, because the stuff just has that kind of a binding capability. So make sure you use an old sprayer, or just go buy you El Cheapo. And the last thing, 2 coats. Put a coat on, let it dry real good, dry to the touch. You go back and put your second coat on. Based off of this right here, I'm liking it really, really good, because typically once I put those needles down, within 3 or 4 hours, they're out here in the front yard, because all the cars coming up and down the road and the big 18-wheelers, and that has not moved a muscle yet. So as always, I appreciate you taking time out of your day to watch. I'll check you later.